Have you ever wondered how to tune vocals perfectly? Well, you're about to find out. Here we go. So, in today's video, I want to take you through my process of tuning vocals. We're going to be looking at a mixture of techniques between Variaudio and Autotune as well. We'll be discussing the various reasons and reasons not to use all the different tuning methods. So I'm going to be using the raw vocals in this one from Deirdre McLaughlin's Ethereal Trance Vocals Pack. Now these are actually the raw vocals. We did tune these before we actually released them on the pack. So I'm going to go through my process with you on how I actually done that. Now this process, I've been recording vocals for almost 20 years now. The process has developed and changed over the years with the technology advancing. But I would say for the last, 8, 9, 10 years, this is the way I've been processing my vocals as far as tuning goes. So yeah, let's jump right in and see how we get on. Depending on the artist that you're working with and the sound that they're actually going for, it really depends on your approach to tuning. What I would say with tuning, only tune kind of what you have to tune, okay? Unless obviously if it's maybe you're working on a rap project or, certain pop styles, really want that hard kind of tuned sound. Look at Irish country music, for example, it's just cranking up the auto-tune to 100% and off you go. But depending on the style that you're going for, people like that sound, some people don't. So it really depends from track to track. Singer to singer as well. Some singers or the song might actually want that, hard tuned sound, and some don't. Me, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So I really tend to just tune the stuff that needs to be tuned, to tighten things up, and if it doesn't need it and you're destroying the integrity of the actual performance or the vocal, I try to stay away as best I can. So that's some of the tips. I'll give you some tips as I go through this. So what we'll do here first is we'll look at Deirdre's vocal. I did get permission from Deirdre to use some of these raw vocals. So no, she's not that much out of tune, just little notes here and there. Nothing more than anybody else. Right, so what we're going to do first is I use two processes here. I use Variaudio first, and then I'll do a touch of Autotune afterwards. The reason I don't like using Autotune initially is because Autotune is permanently on the vocal. So I like to stay away from it first, and then if I want that Autotune-y kind of sound, I can put that on. Whereas here with Variaudio, I like to tune it without you noticing that there's tuning being done, if you get me. So let's jump right in. So basically how we do this in Cubase, we have our audio file here, our performance. So basically I'm just going to double click inside this audio event. First things first, we need to be in Variaudio here. And what we need to do is get Variaudio to actually scan this vocal and detect its pitches for us. So we're going to click this Edit Variaudio. Okay, so that's basically scanned this vocal to tell me, where all the notes are happening, basically, okay? Before you start, you need to figure out what key you're actually in, okay? If you don't know, if it's not labeled, or maybe you're like, pulling an a cappella from somewhere, like a technique that I used to use years ago was fire it into maybe something like mixed in key or some sort of key identifier, and that'll actually help you just get over a wee hurdle. So at least then you know what notes can be used within that key, and it keeps you right then for when you're tuning. So yeah, the great thing in Variaudio that I really like is using the scale assistant. So you can basically define your key here. So I know this track is in B minor. So that basically, what that does is that identifies then on your grid what notes you should be playing and what notes you shouldn't be actually playing. So it's especially useful for people who are maybe not too sure of their scales and what sharps and flats are in certain keys. So it kind of keeps you right. So if you look there, for example, if I look at a note here, see if I move that down, I know that the C sharp, the C natural rather, isn't in that key. So see the way that goes red? A sharp or B flat. So yeah, it identifies which notes you can use and which notes not to use. You can scale this to a chord track, which is another feature within Cubase as well, which again is another really handy thing that I'm actually doing a separate video on as well. So yeah, for now, let's jump in and let's get a look. We'll just do the first line initially. Doing any more than that can tend to be just biting a little bit too much off at one particular time. So let's get a listen to this line.
We will rise again.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to put the music in behind that as well.
We will rise again.
So what we can see here is the identification marks basically of Deirdre's actual singing there. If we listen to what she's doing,
we will rise.
So there's actually a step there in the vocal that it usually does a pretty good job identifying, but didn't just quite get it there. So I'm just going to put a little split in that, and also here, because that's where I kind of know where those notes are.
We will rise again.
Okay, so that's basically me identifying the notes a little bit clearer, which gives me a little bit more room to manipulate them. So over here, when we look back up to the top of Variaudio, we can have pitch snap mode, which it can be absolute, relative, or off. So absolute just sort of locks them into the note when you're actually moving them. And relative will actually move it exactly up one relative to its position. And off sometimes can be useful. You can actually just slightly move it. It's kind of like snapping it on and off the grid, essentially. So I tend to use it mostly in absolute mode. And now what I'm going to use as well, actually, I'm going to use all my smart controls here as well. And what I mean by smart controls, whenever I zoom in now on this, see all the different ages and parameters here at the age of that event. We can manipulate each one of those, stand for different process within Variaudio, which I'll show you now. Like, I don't just go ahead and quantize everything. You have a quantize button here. I could show you as an example. So if we wanted to quantize, sorry, I highlighted these. Well, let's listen to this first and listen to the quantize function.
We will rise again.
Okay, let's quantize those pitches.
We will rise again.
Like, that did a pretty good job of it, if you ask me. I don't like doing it because, not that it's like the lazy way out, but I'd rather just take care of each note myself. Just in case it's pushing something that didn't need pushed and it might be taking away a wee bit from the natural sound. I'm actually just going to do it myself. So I know I can hear.
We will rise.
So each one of those notes is a tiny, tiny, tiny bit off. So what I'm going to do is just aggregate that down to the D. So if you look at it there, it was just a tiny wee bit sharp on the D.
We will rise.
Okay, so I can just do that by moving the note. Very, very simple. So that's probably the least intrusive way of pitching something and pitch correcting a vocal.
We will rise.
Again, this one's just slightly off, and I know the F sharp is within that key, so that's correct. I'm just sort of hugging it onto the note.
We will rise.
And again, that's just like sense out there, really.
We will rise again.
Okay, pretty cool. Right, so listening to this first note here, you can see this basically represents the deviation in pitch as the singer's singing, basically. Like, nobody's singing with a straight line, you know, unless you just want to sound like a robot. But I do like to straighten them. So once I've aggregated them onto the actual note, I give them a little straighten, and that's this little function here in the middle. So I can just go like that a little bit. Now, I'll do it extreme so you can hear first, okay?
We will.
Right, so you can hear at the end of that note,
We will.
right, it's starting to sound like that auto-tune effect, and that's not what we're after. So I'm just going to pull this back again to sort of natural position. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a little bit of a sweetener. But what we can also do, because this is very aggressive, what we can do is actually do, it's like a little range here, and we can say, right, I don't want you to include that part, and I don't want you to include the end part, because that usually is where you can really tell there's tuning being done. So let's get a look now.
We will run.
To me, that's spot on. So let's get a look, do the similar process with this one.
We will run.
Maybe a small little bit, not too much. Let me just see that. And again, I'm just going to do a little fade here because I can see she's kind of bending from this note to this note. And you want to keep those characteristics, I feel. I don't like touching them. They do be extremely hard to control if you're starting to tune those things. It just basically starts sounding auto-tuning. So I tend to allow the movement between notes.
We will rise again.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. You're not looking for like absolute perfection here. Like, you know, you don't, like, to me, I don't mind a little bit of the characteristics of the vocalist coming in, you know. If we did, again, I might want to straighten this, and you can see it's like a vocal inflection whenever Deirdre comes off the note here. Again, these sometimes work okay and sometimes don't. But what we can actually do, so instead of straightening this whole thing, because it would have to be very extreme, I'll just show you. So if I wanted to get all this down, so you can hear.
Rise again.
It's actually not too bad, even at that. But what I tend to do, if I've got a sort of tricky area, I can actually click on that and separate that. So I can actually treat that itself away from the rest of it. So what do we see now?
Rise again.
Yeah, that's perfect for me. And you may be wondering what this is here. This is just vibrato. Just the style of the singer singing. If you want to tame it, you can. Again, that's usually a style thing for a singer. I don't mind a little bit of vibrato unless it's, you know, out of control.
We will rise again.
She does kind of go down a little bit too much for me there at the very end. So, again, I'll just straighten that and do a little bit of... So I did a little bit of quantizing pitch and straightening there in that particular note.
We will rise again.
Yeah, I think that actually really helped that. I'll just play that again.
Rise again.
Yeah, she just goes down a little bit much. I'm pretty happy with that tuning on that now. Just going to redo what I did there. Okay, let's see the next line here.
The sun will shine again.
Okay.
The sun will
Right, I can hear right away that will is slightly off. Play it again.
The sun will shine again.
Right, two major things. Again, it doesn't really need a massive amount of work. This could do with a little sweetening here. And also, I'll just get a look at the way she's coming off the note here as well, okay?
The sun will shine.
Okay, I'm going to get the will here.
The sun will.
So I quantize it first. And then a little bit of a straighten. Let's see.
The sun will shine.
Yeah, that massively helped that.
The sun will shine again.
Yeah, again, that doesn't need
The
much.
sun will shine again.
Let's see that again here.
Again.
Right, so you can hear at the end, there's just like a slight dip.
Again.
Now, the dip is a little bit off. So what you could do, so you could do this and put it onto a note that's within the scale.
Mine again.
You can do that. Or if it's bothering you and you would prefer just to have one, you can bring that particular note up to the very end like this.
The sun will shine again.
To me, that's cleaner, just keeping it on the actual note. But again, it's a style thing. You know, loads of different singers have different ways of, you know, performing and putting their own stamp on vocals. I do try and keep their integrity there as best I can. So as I say, I'm just trying to tune what I feel needs tuned. And it's like anything, you know, look, as I say, I've been doing this a fairly long time. So I think my ear's quite accustomed to what's in tune and what's out of tune. So I think for you guys, it's just a matter of jumping and messing around with some vocals and, you know, you start to hear what's sounding good, you know. Okay, let's try the next line here, sorry.
We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever.
Okay.
We'll be
Right, I'm just going to, these are crucial just to set things up, so I'm just going to quantize them. I think that's all they'll probably need. I don't need to straighten them.
We'll be holding back the teardrop.
That back just needs a wee help as well, and I'll help this along too. Let's see.
Still for. We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever.
Yeah, I think that's all okay there. I'm just going to sweeten up that last note.
We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever. We'll be.
Again, I'm just going to make sure the end of the note is right smack bang on the money. Here we go.
We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever. We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever.
Again, see, with the like of this, you know, I don't mind that, just going from note to note. That's perfectly fine in my book. Like, you know, if I was really wanting absolutely critical, I'm just going to do it here for you so you can hear.
Teardrops still forever.
You know, you're going to get a very...
Drops still forever.
You're just taking the whole flow out of the vocal there. And that's kind of, you know, especially when you're starting off, you tend to overly use it. Right, the like of this guy here, like most singers, whenever they're going into a note, just tend to just sort of swoop in. This is a frequent... I'm not saying a mistake, a frequent style of most singers, but sometimes, you know, this first note here can be a little bit off. So it's either kind of supposed to be on this note or maybe a tone down or semitone down or whatever it might be. So again, let's get a look and I'm going to see kind of what sits best. So for now, I'm going to bring it to its closest note and let's see. Let's see again.
We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever.
That sounds spot on there. Let's try it on this one just to see.
I'm still forever.
Yeah, you can hear that. It just doesn't sound natural there at all.
Still forever.
No, do not like it. This kind of keeps it within the key and also more natural sounding, which is what I tend to be trying to achieve.
And back the teardrops still forever.
See, the teardrops are now the more I'm listening to it. There's probably a little bit too much deviation with the vibrato there, so what I'm going to do is just tame it a little bit. So I'm just using the straighten function.
Holding back the teardrops still forever.
And that's hitting it maybe a little bit hard. What I'll actually do is, I'll show you that function earlier of the start and the end. Leave them natural.
Holding back the teardrops still forever.
Yeah, much better.
We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever.
Lovely. Okay, that's sounding pretty good to me. Okay, we're just going to jump into our last I think that the last line's a repeat here. So 2 more lines to go, and then let's see where we're at.
I'll be calling out your name.
To be honest, I probably wouldn't touch anything there, really. Well, there's nothing jumping out at me that needs any drastic surgery. I love what she's doing with her voice there. I wouldn't really want to. I think this line is very characteristic of Deirdre's voice, and I would be very cautious of doing anything too noticeable on this.
I'll be calling out your name.
Maybe a little straightened just to be see here. A quantizer onto the correct pitch. Just small amounts.
I'll be calling out your name.
There's a tiny wee bit right smack bang in the middle of this. I might just give that a wee sweetener there.
I'll be calling out your name.
Yeah, that's perfect there. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, another function actually I should have shown you earlier is we've got an acoustic feedback here. So basically once you click on the note, which is kind of handy if you do want to reference stuff. Okay, I'll go on to this final line here for now.
Can you hear me through the rain? Can you hear me through the rain?
Not bad at all. This one is slightly off. It's going to need a little bit of assistance.
Can you?
And I believe that probably should be there. Let me just see.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Okay, she was just a little bit flat on that. I'm just going to straighten this one up as well.
Can you hear me through the rain?
Yeah, I think that's spot on as well. Maybe just ease off on the vibrato slightly.
Can you hear?
There's a little something there just when they're going from spot to spot there.
Can you hear me through the rain?
Okay, excellent. Yeah, overall, I think that's that vocal tuned on Variaudio, which jumps us on now to our next part of the processing. So yeah, like depending on the vocal, what I probably would do now is just run a pass through the vocal, double checking the work that I've just done, making sure that I haven't missed anything, and making sure that I haven't actually overdone anything.
We will rise again. The sun will shine.
Right, listening to that now again, just in between here. Right, just these notes here. I'm just going to do that range so nothing happens there.
We will rise again. The sun will shine again. We'll be holding back the teardrops still forever. I'll be calling out your name. Can you hear me through the rain?
Yeah, to me that's pretty spot on. Yeah, can't really fault it. There's no issues there for me whatsoever. Right, the next thing that I would be doing is putting on an auto-tune onto the vocal. So basically, once I've kind of tuned the vocal, I'll put an auto-tune on then as well this is not like, you know, some people might say, well, what's the point in doing Variaudio if you're putting some auto-tune on? I've had a love-hate relationship with auto-tune from the get-go. I used to hate it and only put it on when clients requested it. And now I'm kind of like, I kind of grown to really like the sound of it, but in very, very, very subtle amounts. You know, we're not talking like Irish country music here, or, you know, T-pain effects or share effects or anything like that. It does give a vocal a lovely kind of hug, pitching wise, if you just use a subtle amount of it. That's all good. Let's get a look at the auto-tune. So basically, Deirdre, by default, that goes to soprano. We'll set that to alto tenor for Deirdre's voice. We've set it to B minor, and let's see what we've got.
Rise again. The sun will shine again. We'll be holding back the teardrops till forever.
Right, so what I'm just going to do, so this is basically, this retune speed, this is your main function on this, and this is kind of like how fast the auto-tune actually works, or how quick it's correcting that pitch. And obviously whenever this cranked right up, we're getting that kind of T-pain effect. See, a lot of it sort of tends to happen in between notes as well.
The sun will shine.
Right, just when I have it on the stream, I'm going to take it to flexi tune here, right, for a second. And what flexi tune does is kind of like a threshold then, so how much it allows it to be slightly out, basically.
We will rise again. The sun will shine again.
So you can see there, it's hardly working at all whenever I've got that sort of flexi tune up there. So what I usually try and do is try and get a combination of both these. And the way I would work is I tend to actually go the retune speed first.
We will rise again.
So that's still a bit too much for me.
The sun will shine.
Yeah, still too much. Maybe dial this back to like 12 o'clock.
We will rise again. The sun will shine again.
Yeah, that's a lot smoother. That's a lot smoother. I'll just give it a little bit of flexi. I could probably, if I give it, yeah, see there, about 30 is fine. And yeah, about 30 on that as well.
We will rise again. The sun will shine again. We'll be holding back the teardrops till forever. I'll be calling out your name.
Right, you can actually hear there forever. I think that was one of the notes that we actually had a lot of vibrato on.
Holding back the teardrops till forever.
Right, and you can actually hear that kind of wobbling. Let's get a look at that note. It should be a good example for this. I'm just going to loop that.
Teardrops till forever.
So what I'm going to do is actually just going to increase this a little bit.
Teardrops till forever.
Yeah, now that's got more natural by increasing that flexi tune. So that is just kind of allowing for the little bit of vibrato. Okay, the last couple of parameters I want to look at in the auto tune here is the natural vibrato. And with this line,
Teardrops till forever.
there is vibrato in it. I never really have much luck with this, but we'll just try it for this purpose.
Teardrops till forever.
Yeah, well, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, let's try it this way.
Teardrops till forever.
No, that's just sort of pitching that up. Yeah, not really vibing with that at all. it's kind of doing what we're not wanting it to do, which is basically sort of making our auto-tune a lot more noticeable. The humanize. Like I'm listening to the ver at the end, and that's kind of what I'm trying to just get a bit more natural sounding. Just turn this right up. Yeah, this humanize actually seems to have really helped that actually. I'll just show you an example again. That's actually really smoothed it off, and again it's more natural sounding, which is kind of what I'm going for when I'm doing this. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with those settings overall in that vocal. So yeah, as you can see, you know, that's kind of the way I would go about tuning a vocal. And as you probably noticed from the video, I spend most of my time in Variaudio because I get a natural tuning done on the vocal. You know, the auto-tune thing is a little bonus at the end if I even want to use it, depending on the track that I'm actually working on. As I say, I've had a love-hate relationship with it, and I have grown to like it a little bit more, but in small doses. So yeah, just to explain, you know, once I have a vocal recorded, this is the first thing I do before I start doing any effects and processing. First thing I do is actually get the vocal tuned correctly. Once it's tuned, then I'll move on then to my processing and my effects. I have a video done for that. I'll put the link in the description or get it up on screen here now. So if you want to see my technique for the processing and also for my vocal effects. So yeah, I think if you could take anything away from this video today, just be wary when you're jumping into tuning is not to over tune. You have a tendency whenever you get in there just to start pulling at things and moving things about, and you can end up just being in a bit of a mess in there. So use your ears, you know, listen to the track, see if it suits the track. Maybe some of the slight pitch deviations, you know, might work and can be kind of quirky and characteristic. You know, some of them, yes, will need help. So yeah, what I would say is just do the required amount. And as I say, it is a taste thing of how much you want to add then on the auto-tune. Delve in, have a mess about, see what kind of sound or what kind of feel you can get and what sort of hugging on those notes that you can get as well. So yeah, that's it from me for today. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. I will be back again with another one. Thanks for the words of encouragement as well. It's much appreciated. Yeah, and just to let you know, the vocals from this tutorial today were taken from Deirdre McLaughlin's Ethereal Trance Vocals, which is out now exclusively on fulltiltrecordings.com. You'll not be able to get that sample pack anywhere else. So yeah, by purchasing that, you're helping us and you're helping the channel here and you're helping the label and everything that we're doing. So it is much appreciated. And yeah, also, if you'd like to book me for any services, I have a link in the description below for various mastering and production services that we offer here at Full Tilt Studios as well. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. I'll be back again very, very soon with a brand new tutorial for you. Thanks a million, guys.